Hi, this is Ash, or Bash from the Flying Seagull Project, and I thought it was just a bit of a time for a check-in. You know, all the way through lockdown, we've checked in with you from time to time, shared with you some of the stuff we've been doing, and hopefully, some of the stuff we've been trying to share with you has been useful in some way. But now we need to look towards the future. So for a lot of you out there, I'm sure you're facing the same sort of decisions we are, which is, I mean, the first one is safety. You know, we've worked over the last 12 years in places with people who are extremely vulnerable, and they're vulnerable for multiple reasons, but often that vulnerability either is directly or indirectly linked to their well-being in terms of physical health. So for the last 4 years working in and across the humanitarian crisis of the refugees within Europe, the conditions and the situations that they're living in are often extremely fragile in terms of physical health as well as mental health. So obviously coming out of this lockdown, we've got a big challenge. The challenge is we still believe deeply and completely that having access to play and having professionally delivered, high level, understanding, bespoke made play environments for the children that are living within these traumatic experiences, or just immediately post-traumatic, as in when they've arrived somewhere, I still think that's extremely important. And in fact, I reckon quite obviously, with the lockdown having been so massively impactful for all children, all your children, our children, both home and abroad, it would have been felt even more sharply by the kids across the camps and the shelters in Europe. So to give you a bit of an idea, I'm not trying to distract you from your own challenges or to undermine some of the really difficult situations we all have in our own homes or our own neighbourhoods or our own towns. But to give you a little bit of information about how it's been on the islands and in the camps in Greece. Greece was very proactive about a very thorough lockdown very early on. The issue with that is, obviously the positive of that is it meant that coronavirus was contained a lot more successfully and a lot more thoroughly than it was elsewhere. The downside of that is that there wasn't, like anywhere, there wasn't enough time to create provisions that would adequately make sure that whilst locked down, everybody had access to the things that make our lives livable. So that isn't only just food and shelter, which in all honesty, I'm not trying to condemn or to spread negativity, but in all honesty, that already was inadequate across the camps in Greece anyway. Imagine what has been the case for the people arriving into Lesbos or Samos during this time. Already inadequate and already dangerous and already perilously fragile life situations were made 1,000 times worse. Even now, the camps are still in full lockdowns, which means that, I mean, being locked down in our homes, I don't know about you, but it's been challenging enough and frustrating enough. And those of us who are lucky enough to have somewhere to be locked down and people to be locked down with that we are, call family or friends, we must consider that a great fortune, because the situation in Lesbos, for example, is you have Moria camp, which we've told you about many times, but you've got over 20,000 people living in makeshift tents and shelters around a camp that was only made for 1,500 or I think it's actually 3,000. Anyway, numbers, let's say 3,000 it was made for. There's 20,000, in excess of 20,000 living both in the actual structure itself, but then splaling out all over the hills. Now, I know we love a bit of sunshine here in the UK, but when it's 36 degrees and you don't have any electricity or anywhere to go that's shaded, you just have a summer tent and you're not even able to take a walk out of the extremely claustrophobic and confined environment of a camp. It is extremely challenging on your mental health and extremely challenging on your physical health. And that was, luckily enough, so far, touch wood, doink, doink, there hasn't been an outbreak of COVID within the island camps at Vathy in Samos or Moria and Lesbos or any of the other camps around there. But imagine the fear of, I mean, I felt a lot of fear, I'm sure a lot of you have, a lot of fear for our loved ones, for those that we know who do have underlying health issues. And even the precedent is not only that that's the case. People who are healthy have also, unfortunately, found themselves, susceptible. So imagine being in that situation where you know there's no medical care. There isn't medical care for you anyway, let alone if there was a COVID outbreak. That fear, that uncertainty, that claustrophobia, in amongst all of them, I'm going to get to the point now, is the kids. It's the kids who we've strived as hard as we could over the last 4 years to keep cheerful. And it sounds so flippant, having just told you all that, to say to keep them cheerful or to get them smiling. But what is the point? What is the point of childhood if it's not to at least find your confidence through happy play, or to find your strength through exploration of social interactions with other people, or or any of those things that make life worth living. So that's kind of where we're at. That is the reason why we are still desperately trying to find, first and foremost, safety, and secondly, adequate ways to really get back out there into the camps. We have a few meetings and a few projects in line. In the meantime, our teams are too restless to stay still. So Laugh and Play UK, I'm sure you've already seen the posts. Izzy and Becky, or Wolfy and BB, are leading 2 teams all over Essex and all throughout East London and wider London, which is where they're based, so they don't have to spend the night away from home. Restrictions, you see, we're being as careful as we can to follow those guidelines. And they're reaching out to community groups and schools and centres for people with other needs or special needs or illnesses to, at a distance, in a safe way, cheer them up and make them laugh. We also launched our project in Holland last week, into its 2nd week this week, where we are spreading the same thing. Children in foster care or social care, or who are ill in some way, or outcast, or living in shelters or asylum centres, or reasons why they would need an extra piece of cheering up, though we all need cheering up, an extra piece. In addition to that, we're looking across Europe to see where and what and how we might be able to take our teams back safely on the road. We're looking at adapting bespoke vehicles where we can enter camps without ever actually coming into contact. We're looking at potentially finding venues across or near camps in Greece where we can safely bring smaller numbers of children to experience the circus and the play and those cinema things. So we're on it. We still need your support. We still need your energy. We're still going to share as much as we can with you. We've got some stuff going on in the UK. There's still all of anyone who didn't manage to catch the Seagulls Spectacular, which was our amazing live stream show put on by our little theatre team here in England. Sarita, Regina, Matt and Eddie did a fantastic job with Applecart Arts. It's a fantastically fun show. If you want a copy of that, get in touch. We can send you it to your inbox. You can sit with the family or your group or your children group if you lead something and share that. We're still here. We're still working. We're going to be here in the UK, all across Holland, all across Norway, and when possible, we're getting back out to the camps. Slowly and safely is our first and foremost. But I just wanted to reassure you that you can trust in us. We are not taking our foot off the gas. However, we are taking a moment to adapt, to make sure that they get fun in a way that is meaningful, has the same impact, but doesn't put them or anyone else at any risk. That's the end of my message and the catch up. I hope you're all surviving. I hope you're having a nice summer and finding a way to enjoy the sunshine. Lots of love from our seagulls. Love. And we'll see you soon for another cartoon.